Yep, I'm here. Good flipping afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is the middle of the season. We are 2-6. Mike McDaniel says we fight on. And you are what your record says you are. But we're going to find out if we have to be what our record says we are going forward. That's next on Afternoon Color Commentary.
I think we believe in the roster and want to see guys come through a tough time, and I think that's really what that was executed.
That's really what was executed. Whoa, wow. Mike McDaniel talking about what he believes execution means right now. I can't say I disagree with him. We're going to get into all that. We're going to get into the whole press conference a little later on. We do that every week here. Sorry I'm late to this week, everybody. You know, it was the end of a long fought political season, and I am a politically active person, so I have had to take almost the entire week to decompress after the election results from Tuesday. And while we keep everything here apolitical on the Finn's Tailgate, because we invite everybody from all political beliefs to be here and give their opinion on football. This is about football and the Miami Dolphins. I just will say that I choose to be politically active because even whether you're paying attention to politics or not, politics is paying attention to you. But that being said, welcome everybody who is also coming back to reality after, you know, watching what would be the Super Bowl, considered a Super Bowl for people that are politically active. That is election night. All kinds of issues got decided. Took a little bit on the chin with Amendment 3. I can understand it. But without being too political, I just want to say one little message here and use Amendment 3 as an illustration. I wanted to vote yes. We didn't meet the 60% criteria to get it passed, but 55% of the voters in Florida agreed with me, and 40 some percent, 44% had concerns. And so we have to pick ourselves back up. The bill obviously wasn't written in a way that made it palatable and acceptable to those 44%. So we need to pick ourselves back up, write the bill, address the concerns in the bill. And it's okay, Shake. There was actually, again, I'm taught this lesson for some reason. We're reminded of this lesson every single political season, is that not everybody that has, votes for the same reasons. So I went to the flower shop yesterday, and I spoke to a couple of the employees there at the dispensary, the medical dispensary, and a couple of them voted no. And I've heard their concerns, and so you're reminded that, look, it's not so cut and dry as to what people's concerns are about a bill. So we need to pick ourselves back up, write the bill the right way, address those concerns, so that those people are able to vote yes, and we'll get it done. I'm not gonna go jump off a cliff, you know what I mean, because Amendment 3 didn't pass. I'm going to understand why it didn't pass, and I'm going to try to help it pass in the future. But one thing's for certain, it's inevitable. We just got to do it the right way. So that's the last thing I'm going to say about politics today. For those of you, this could be applied to any issue that you voted on or didn't vote on in the election. Any person, politician, whatever, amendment, the same thing can be applied. So there's no reason for everybody to think the world's going to end. I've watched elections for a very, very long time. Some have gone my way, some have not gone my way. But in every one, there's been things that have gone my way and things that did go my way. And so but guess what? We're still here. I'm still here. The sun still rose Wednesday morning. Oxygen still works. So, let's realize that we're all here. We're all Americans. We all have to live here and with each other. And there's no reason for, I mean, if you're talking about your political friend and you want to rub it in, that's one thing, but not everybody's like that. And there's no reason. Everybody has a wide variety of different issues that they vote on and that they made their decisions on. And not all of them are the things that you think that they made those decisions on. And that goes for all sides of every political issue. And that's it. So, that being said, let's get back to Miami Dolphins football. I am glad to be talking football in general. What a fantastic game last night. Did y'all see that game last night? Just unbelievable performance again by Lamar Jackson. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, the Bengals showed up. The Bengals were the Bengals last night. We haven't seen that type of performance from the Bengals in a long time. Jamar Chase, 246 yards receiving. Joe Burrow, 428 passing, 4 touchdowns. But when it comes down to it, you cannot do anything about a guy that can outflank 3 different defensive tackles, tiptoe down the sideline, picking up a first down at the 1-yard line to keep his drive alive on 3rd down, and almost scoring. You can't, there's nothing you can do. There's no stat on the planet that can capture that. To my good friend Lewis's point, there is no stat on the planet that can capture that. There's nothing I'm going to tell you in the numbers that would be like, yeah, Lamar Jackson is going to do something like that. So credit to them. That was a great performance last night. We got problems all over our team. We're 2-6. And the team has not given up. And y'all can believe whatever you want about our chances and all of that. But nobody wants to give up. I mean, we lost our last chance to gain any capital off our roster this year by letting the trade deadline pass. So as you heard McDaniel say, there's only one way out of it. For the players, it's execution. For the team and the organization, it's execution. And he described what he sees as execution. And I mean, without trying to overanalyze what he said, he just said everybody needs to show the hell up. Seems like a rational take to me. Everybody just needs to show up. Quickly, guys, David Fiorene's tweeted out a little while ago. The Dolphins cornerback Cam Smith went down during a media viewing portion of Friday practice. He grabbed his left knee, walked off, and trainers are examining him. So already we're talking about, our defensive struggles, our offensive struggles. And here we are again, going to get a couple guys back. And once again, we get one game out of a young supposed superstar. To me, it's like I'm starting to think that Cam Smith is the Preston Williams of DBs. Hit the like button. I forgot to tell you all to hit the like button, and I forgot to greet everybody this morning, or today. I'm sorry, this afternoon. I do apologize for that. John Featherland, the first one in chat, followed by Chef Jew, the ambassador, and Ms. Relentless. That's Ms. Relentless. And she is relentless. T-Dub, how's it going? Aquavision, I see you all in here. Jamie, Cat for Life. And, of course, Grumpy. Grumpy's up in here. Say hi to Ramon, everybody. CCRR. Yeah, well, you heard what I said, CCRR. You're leaving out the prefix there. Supposed superstar. you all gotta listen a little better. What's up, Von Joe? As a supposed superstar. Look, Von Joe's hitting me too, CCRR. I'm talking about one of these guys we talk up. I mean, look, even Preston Williams had a couple good games where we're like, dang, I loved his hands. The guy has great eyes and hands, but boom, there it is, done. Tua throws him a dime in the end zone, and he drops it flat right out of his hands. And I'm like, oh, there goes that. Well, yeah, even suppose it is a stretch. Well, in relation to the guy that we passed up to get him, yeah, I agree with you. That's one of the marks against Chris Greer for me. But again, we were talking in a space earlier, and I pretty much just declared, look, I don't think Chris Greer should be fired. I really don't. I'm not saying he's done a stupendous job, and there's a lot still remains to be seen. Where a lot of bad things that look like bad things to us could be overshadowed by, hey, if one thing happens and we capture the glory, well, then all of that's going to be erased, and then we have to judge Chris Greer. We got a lot of things. I saw a headline or a report, forget which journalist, but the headline was to the effect that this, that, and the other person, like the whole shebang, is riding on these next 9 games. They're I think it said something to the effect of coaches, players, and everybody's playing for their job for the next 9 games. It's one of those, yeah, put it down on tape, but we still have a chance to actually, because of the state of the league, we still have a chance to actually make it in the playoffs. So, we're in that middle area now where we don't know what the heck to do. That's where we're at right now. And that's never where you want to find yourself. But it is where we're at, and the only way out of it is to execute. If you got 53 guys that are putting down good tape, then you're likely winning anyway. On that note, before we get into the mid-season stats, and the reason that the show is titled Mid-Season Mids is because it is pretty mid on both sides of the ball. Without looking right off the bat, I would say things look maybe a little crisper on defense, but it don't matter. We're still getting points put against us. We have got to drop that number. Still getting off the field. Maybe not at the right times when you're playing a team like Buffalo, but we're getting off the field. It's just we can't stop the scoring. So even if we are running a bend don't break philosophy, we're breaking. Now, I would argue the same thing for the Ravens. They're breaking horribly in the fourth quarter every game. But look what their offense is doing to overcome it. The stats aren't there, but a case, Grumpy? What do you got a case of Mountain Dew for me for? No, it's not an excuse at all, CCRR, because that's the point. Nobody's going to tell me the Ravens defense wasn't trash last night, but look what happened. Yeah, their team gave up, 30 points or whatever. But look what their offense did. While only throwing for 290 yards and only rushing for 33 from Lamar Jackson. And don't think Derrick Henry had a huge game either. 68 yards rushing. Oh, I got you, CC. But, it is what it is. Our defense failed to stop them from being within range for their kicker to kick a 61-yard field goal. Yep, and we gave up 21 points in the second half and didn't force a punt at all in the second half. That needs to change. That needs to get better for the next time we face a team as good as Buffalo. And I would argue that the Rams are that team. What's up, Trucker? Been a while, man. Got Trucker Sean up in here. What's up, G? Well, not quite yet, G. I was thinking the same thing. Have we entered Dallas Cowboy fan territory? That was going to be my question, G. Are we the Dallas Cowboys fans? What's up, Red, White, and Bills? Yeah, the other Sean from the Bills, Sean. Yeah. What's up, man? Are we the Dallas Cowboys fans now? I mean, they're talking about Super Bowl aspirations when they're 2-11. I think 2-6, given the current state of the league. I don't know. I think 8-1 is doable. But look, man, if the same thing plays out against the Rams that's played out the last 2 weeks, then that's it. That's all we've got. And it's not good enough to win. I don't care how good our defense gets. Defenses break. I don't know a defense that hasn't. I mean, if you can name a defense that's never broken, I'm here. Because even the you could look at any of the great defenses ever that give up 17 a game. But you know what? There are weeks where there are 2-3 weeks in a row where they gave up 3 points. And then there's one game they gave up 34. And that was usually when they were playing a superstar offense. So if you don't know this stuff going in, then yeah, you're gonna be a person that thinks, oh yeah, you know, defense lost us that game. Fair enough. If that's how you see things, if you see it as don't matter what the circumstances, defense has to, whatever. Well, okay, fine. Then you're never going to be satisfied with defense. And I'll shut up about it. I'm hoping to get Zach Sealer back this week. From what I understand, he's on track. Cater Kohu practiced yesterday. Limited. Current ESPN. We're going to go over the tail of the tape. It's Friday. We got the Rams coming up on Monday night. Before we get into the stats for the mid-season. And then we'll get into what Mike McDaniel had to say yesterday. Hopefully we get an updated injury report by then. It's Friday. Maybe get some word on some things that happened in practice. I'm hoping we get an upload of maybe some Anthony Weaver talk. I'd like to hear his interpretation of the game coming up. Oh, I know. CC, I know. The hard part is, CC. The hard part with that is I don't disagree. Like in the philosophical sense, I don't disagree at all. It's just like, there's a difference between losing and not winning. There just is. I'm sorry if it's too deep for people to understand that. but there is a difference between losing and not winning. We wouldn't have the different word structures if there wasn't a difference. There would just be losing. I wouldn't be able to construct that concept if there wasn't a difference. It's not like I'm not talking about rocket science here. There's an obvious difference between losing and not winning. I've said the very same thing about the offense for these past 3 years. I've said the same thing about Tua. Tua can't lose us a game. He can only not win it. The team loses. I'm sorry if that's too flippant or I don't know, two-dimensional, because it's not two-dimensional. It's actually five-dimensional. You might just see it as coach speak. Well, I don't. Coaches speak that for a reason. What am I supposed to do now when I'm calling a football game? Sit there and pull up a sticky note and make a little slash every time the offense makes a mistake that could have got us more points, and then stick a little slash next to every single time in the game where the defense does something or doesn't do something that allows for them what? 5 yards, 10 yards? What do we put that at? Up points? What? Because I remember last game there was a drive where we held them to a field goal and we called that a win. We said the defense won that drive. We didn't say that because they held them to a field goal. We said that because we held Buffalo to a field goal. That might have been right after we turned over the ball. So am I supposed to, how many slashes am I supposed to mark there? So that we're counting by the end of the game, we can say, well, the offense has this many slashes and the defense has this many slashes. Therefore, this side of the ball lost us the game. What's up, Jermaine? Our whole mentality going into that game lost us the game. If you want me to be real, our whole mentality when we woke up that morning lost us that game. If we ever thought the defense was going to be guaranteed to stop Josh Allen from doing anything, our whole mentality going into the game lost us that game. Our whole mentality going into every game we lost has lost us that game. Yeah, the defense needed to get a stop in the second half. Sure, they did. But it might have been a little easier had your offense capitalized in the first half when they were getting stops. Now, we saw the couple times they did. But we're talking about a Hall of Fame level play from Josh Allen that scored them one of their touchdowns. I won't excuse the defense for injuries. Forget the fact of what Cater, Kohu, or Zach Sealer could have made a difference on that 60-some yard run. Forget that. I'll concede that. No excuse for injuries. What about the Hall of Fame level play from Josh Allen to score one of their touchdowns? You don't think we get a sack there? That don't take 4 points off the board? Oh, we didn't get a sack there. That means the defense failed us. We had 3 guys draped on him with his knee an inch from touching the ground, and the guy basketball shoots the ball to an unknown lineman who happens to be checked in as a receiver for a touchdown over 2 defenders. Yeah, everybody saw that coming. The hell out of here with that shit. Oh, well, this or that or the other defense didn't have a problem stopping him from doing that. Oh, well, whoop-de-doo. Good for those defenses. They're not ours. That don't mean ours lost us the game. Thank you, Jermaine. You see, if people want to act like I have some kind of ulterior agenda or narrative to make the quarterback look bad by excusing the defense, if that's what you think I'm doing, whoever it might be that thinks I'm doing that, guess what? I can say the same thing that you're trying to hide the fact of what who's really responsible for the fact that we're 2-6. The defense ain't the reason we're 2-6. Let's stop talking about that so we can argue about who lost us the last game. That's your agenda if you're talking about the defense losing us that game. I can say the same thing. And all I got to do to cook that narrative is have anybody explain to me how the defense is responsible for our 2-9 record over the last 11 games. I don't care if I'm bridging seasons together or not. We are 7-11 in an 18-game sample size. That's us. You could talk about it's the defense. You could talk about it's the offense. You could talk about it's the quarterback. You could talk about it's the janitor. But that's what we are. Now, the question is, and should be, on Friday, before we're facing the Rams on Monday night, do we have to continue to be 2-6? That's the question. And the answer to that question is, if the defense fixes their issues, which they do have plenty of, and if the offense fixes its issues, which it does have plenty of, do I need to add the coach too? I can do that. Last night during the game, I believe it was Kelvin on Twitter. Y'all know Kelvin. Some of you know Kelvin on Twitter. Him and I don't even agree on everything. We've actually gone at it a few times. But you know what? The man made a tweet last night and said, what the hell are you guys, what the hell is Cincinnati doing? That was the tweet. Can you all guess which drive that was on? Take a wild guess which drive that was on. But I digress. He tweeted, "What the hell is Cincinnati doing?" It wasn't quite the last drive, Aqua. It was the last drive that they had control of their own destiny, Aqua, to be more accurate. It wasn't the final drive. It was the last drive that they had control of the game. It was the last time they had control of their destiny. Might have been the second to last drive, third to last drive. It doesn't matter. It was the last drive that they had control of their destiny. And on that drive, it was 3rd and 2 in the Ravens' territory. And they threw a deep sideline pass, incomplete. And on 4th and 2, threw another deep shot, incomplete. And they punted. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 4th and 2. They gave up. That was turnover on downs. And the Baltimore Ravens turned around and proceeded to take the lead. And the Bengals ended the game by getting the game-tying touchdown, but failing to get the 2-point. Whatever. You can say whatever. They would have tied the game there if they kicked the extra point. Fine. But that's all they would have done is tie the game. Now, at that point, with 35 seconds left, let's say they tied the game. You don't think Lamar Jackson, given what he's already done that last night, isn't going to get them into field goal range? And you're going to blame the Bengals defense for that? You all have lost your ever-loving minds. You all have lost your ever-loving minds. Because you know what my answer was to Kelvin's perfect tweet? My answer was, he must have had Mike McDaniel on the phone. And Kelvin laughed. He agreed. Seemed pretty obvious to me. But I bet you the same people that are blaming our defense for last week's loss would tell you that the Bengals defense lost them that game last night. Just is what it is. And even if you disagree, that's fine. But you're not going to tell me my fucking take is dumb. And if you think it's that harmful to your ears, don't listen to it. Because you ain't going to cook it. Do I blame the Bengals offense for the loss last night? No. I blame them for not winning, for not helping the side of the ball that has no idea what the play is going to be. You think the Ravens defense is at the caliber on defense that Lamar Jackson is on offense? Do you think Joe Burrow has to beat Lamar? Yeah, he does. And you know how he does that? He gives his defense a fighting chance by playing intelligently, by picking up that first down on 3rd and 4th and 2. You got plenty of time to take a deep shot to make your boy Jamar look good. He's already been looking good all game. You're not fooling anybody by attempting to throw deep twice in a row with 2 yards to go. You're not fooling anybody in this NFL, Joe, Zach, whoever called the stupid shit. And a 2-time MVP, probably the greatest pure athlete we've ever seen step onto the football field, made you pay for it. I am never going to blame the Bengals defense for that. Sorry, not going to happen. Could the Bengals have done something to win the game? Yeah, they could have stopped Lamar Jackson. I'm just done with it. And I'm telling you right now, I don't care if we have a 4-point lead. Well, that would be better than a field goal. At least they'd have to drive for a touchdown. No, I'll give our defense credit for the touchdown. Okay. Even if we got a 3-point lead, if there's more than a minute and a half on that clock, Matt Stafford is going to win that game. I don't give a shit if you want to pre-blame the defense. Go ahead and pre-blame them for losing Monday's game, because it's happening. If Matt Stafford has a minute and a half left and he's down by 3, or enough that a field goal wins it, there ain't nothing our defense is going to do to stop him from doing that. Nothing. We don't have that good a defense, in case anybody didn't realize. And everybody in this fan base and organization and on offense knows it. So how about you do your brothers a favor and overcome, since you know what the play is that you're running. No, it's okay. We'll just run a pick 6. That's what we'll do. How dare Weaver for not calling the pick 6? Miss me with that, man. I'm done with it. Because I'm going to say it again. If we don't have more than a touchdown lead and there's a minute and a half left on the clock, Matt Stafford is going to make our defense pay. Bank it. Put it in the books. So you can next week I don't even have to blame the defense next week. You heard it right here. Before the game. I don't have to wait till after the game. I'll tell you right now that Matt Stafford will make our defense pay in that situation. Bank it. Game time for this week's game on Monday night is 8:15. As you guys are all hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Man, it's a slow afternoon. What's everybody got business on Friday? Hit the like button, everybody. We're doing pretty good on the ratio. But I don't really have a poll today, so I don't really know what's the poll. Do you think we truly are a 2-6 team? Yeah, we are. Do you think we're going to be? That's the question. Miami now a 1-point underdog in Los Angeles. Although the total of the game has gone up to 50.5. So any of you that were on the fence about taking the over on 45.5 a couple of days ago, well, you missed out. Total is 50.5 now. Money line for the Dolphins is minus 105. They call that a window. Like if you're talking about, hey, wait a minute, there's a little thought in the back of the bettors' heads. What happens if Miami starts really clicking on offense? So there's that mind in the back, that thought in the back of their head of if that happens, the Rams get destroyed. Because we all know I'm telling you the truth. We all know that if our offense it executes at a higher level than it has been, our defense wouldn't have even come into play last week. And we all know that. That's another reason I think the argument is stupid. I'm not saying the position is stupid. I'm saying the argument itself to even have is stupid. Like I told you all week, the problems on defense are a footnote. Over under for the game is 50.5. Do you think Vegas, do you think the bettors are like the Rams are going to score all those points? Do you think the bettors are like the Dolphins are going to score all those points? Well, ESPN Analytics has the matchup predictor at 44.9% chance for the Dolphins to win, 54.8% for the Rams. That's totally winnable by the Dolphins, for the Dolphins. We've been way lower than that and kicked teams' asses before. Passing yards on the year, Tua 93 for 128 on 128 attempts, 948 yards, 5 TDs, 3 interceptions. Matt Stafford on the year, 182 completions on 276 attempts, 1,969 yards, 9 TDs, 6 interceptions. That's, of course, he has a 5-game advantage on Tua. But if you were to pace it out with Tua, that would give Tua 1 touchdown more with the same number of interceptions. So these quarterbacks, results-wise so far, are about evenly matched. Devon Achane, 93 carries for 420 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyren Williams, 161 carries, 602 yards, 8 touchdowns. So he's had to do a little more work, but he's gotten more touchdowns. Of course, Achane carrying that nice high yards per gain average, doing a lot less work for his yardage. Receiving wise, Tyreek Hill, 34 receptions with 446 yards and a tutty. Tutu Atwell, looking to be their go guy, 25 receptions for 366 yards, no scores. Injury report from ESPN, short report. We're waiting on the updated Friday report. Kader Kohu, questionable. Alec Ingold, questionable. Julian Hill, questionable. Javon Holland listed as questionable, and Emmanuel Ogbah as well listed as questionable. On the Rams side, all of these listed as questionable: Ethan Evans, Charles Woods, Cameron Curl, Kevin Dotson, and Demarcus Robinson. That is the short report. Dolphins' last 5 games are 1-4, losing to the Bills, the Cardinals, the Colts, and the Titans, winning against the Patriots. The Rams' last 5, they are 3-2, beating the Seahawks, the Vikings, the Raiders, and losing to the Packers and the Bears. So we're not talking about a shabby team here. I mean, let's be real. The Rams are 4-4, and they have aspirations. And it's in their home stadium where the game time weather looks to be about 68 degrees and clear. Coverage on ESPN. So throw in some score predictions. You might want to wait till I talk about our mid-season stats before you decide what we're going to be going forward. If we're going to be that 2-6 team, or are we going to be something different? Realistically, I should say conservatively, you don't want to fall to less than 8-1. Because that'll give you a 10-7 record. And 10-7, let's be real, is the bare minimum to be considered respectable given our schedule on the way forward. So, it's 9-8. Now you're falling in, and if you lose your first game, you're still a junk team. 10-7, respectably lose your first game or win it, and you're obviously something more real than we've been able to give our credit for ourselves in the past. Because we know between 1 to 4 teams who one of those opponents will be in the first round of the playoffs if we were to pull something like that off. And so we're not escaping the need to fix our number one problem. Don't care what anybody says. And that's execution. You can sugarcoat it all you want. Ain't none of that happening without raising our level of execution. So we're going to take a quick deep dive into where we currently sit on the season. Production on offense and defense in the rankings. I've got them right here, Pro Football Reference. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm seeing a few more single digits for our defensive rankings than I am for our offensive rankings. Just saying. With 2 of our standout games being played by our starting quarterbacks, so we'll give them credit for that. Obviously, standout games being Arizona and Buffalo. You could argue he did all right in Jacksonville. We just didn't get the scoring production out of it. We did have quite a few drops by our tight ends that game, so I'm not gonna roast Tua for Jacksonville. Although we're talking about Jacksonville, let's be real. So playing 4 games with backup quarterbacks obviously is going to have an effect on that. And I will say that some of our numbers, at least in the rushing department, have started to enter the single digit area in rankings. as well as our drive statistics, our average drive statistics have improved. And the reason I say that is because I want you to be aware that when you're trying to figure out we're a 2-6 team now, yes, I'm not going to argue against that. But what could we be going forward when you're trying to figure out of 9 games what's our record going to be? You can plain as day see that with Tua returning to the lineup, that those statistics are trending upward. I should say downward if you're talking about rankings. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Why would it be a bad thing if you have aspirations of turning the season around? I mean, if you could, a person could argue if these numbers had been already looking like this, that we might have 1 or 2 games win above replacement, and we may not be 2-6. But I don't want to argue what we are now. We are 2-6. And yes, crypto, our opponents are getting better, which is why it's pertinent to roast both sides of the ball, because the defense is going to have to tighten up. We have a bunch of Matt Staffords and Kyler Murrays and Josh Allen's going forward. But the offense is still going to have to consistently score more than 27 points. I'm sorry. Against these teams. I'm not talking about average on a season. 27 points on a season average is great. That means that you are occasionally scoring 40 burgers. And occasionally you might only beat a team 20 to something, a division opponent 20-19. But the point is, if you're at 27 points on the average, not just 1 or 2 games, then that says, okay, we can possibly score 35 on an opponent like the Rams or an opponent like the Packers or an opponent like the 49ers this year. Our offense has to do that, regardless of what our defense fixes or doesn't fix. Because the defense will give up those games like that to those better quarterbacks. They just will. You're not going to get 17-point ball games against Matt Stafford in Los Angeles. Maybe if he was coming over to Miami, maybe. And I am on record saying if your defense holds a team to 24, 27, you should be able to beat those teams. But our offense ain't doing that. Our offense ain't comfortably scoring their 30. And against every other team in the league, yeah, 27. 27 is probably enough to beat the Rams, but it wasn't enough to beat the Cardinals. And the Rams beat the Cardinals. The only time our defense ever gives up even more than 35 is if our offense turns the ball over 4 times. And even last game they did that against Buffalo, and Buffalo still only scored 31. Oh, I know. They took their foot off the gas once they realized how trash our offense was. Yeah, I know. I agree. Point remains. Both sides of the ball have to step it up, or it ain't happening. I don't know how many times I got to tell everybody this. The word is execution. There is only one other word. There is no other way to say it. Don't matter if it's Marcus May, Cater Kohu, safety, corner, linebacker. Don't matter who it is. If execution means putting a visor on your helmet, put a visor on your helmet. If execution means I got to throw the ball to H-Chan in the flat 8 times, do it 9. I agree, Crypto. That doesn't always make for a win. That doesn't always equal a win. No, it doesn't. But then we can start looking at the coach cross-eyed. You see what I'm saying, Crypto? Only until then, nobody should be looking at the coach cross-eyed. Except for his little simple mistakes of certain things that I've like, hey, yeah, you don't want to throw the ball there on that down. But whatever. I'm talking about like at the fundamental level. And I would also agree. I would also say that even though it don't equal a win, if you don't have a high level of execution, you are pretty much going to lose. Nothing equals a win. The only thing that would equal a win is if the other team forfeited. What's up, winners? Marino's goat, obviously Crypto and Shake rolling up in here. We're starting to grow a little this afternoon. People are like, wow, Culler's actually doing a show this week. That's my fault. Couldn't help it. I just had no energy. Everybody's so in their feels, man. I don't get it. I'll never blame the Bengals defense for last night. I just can't even imagine how people would. So anyway, let's get into this a little bit. I'm going to start with where we're at on both sides of the ball, according to, yards and yards per game, offense and defense. This according to ESPN's records. And then I'm going to move over to Pro Football Reference and start looking at our rankings on both sides of the ball. We'll finish that up. We'll start playing the Mike McDaniel presser, get that over with. Yes, always at faster speed than default. Currently, in total yards amassed quantitatively. Why don't they number these? Jeez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25th. The Dolphins are 25th ranked in total yardage amassed on their offense. On yards per game, and by the way, that's up from 32nd, so we're improving. Yards per game, the Finns are sitting at about 20th. So we have improved a good 11, 12 spots on yards per game total. That's at 324.9. So the Dolphins are averaging 325 yards per game on offense total. In the passing game, the Dolphins are ranked 28th at 1,528 yards total. And with 191 yards per game on passing, the Dolphins are ranked 24th. And of course, that was up from 32nd, 31st while Tua was out. So I'm just trying to give you a clear picture at a WAR number in your head, wins above replacement, between now that we've got our quarterback one steady, with a sample size of 4 games on the year. I'm not going to get into why it is that way. I don't care. It is what it is. Rushing now. Well, I'm sure we can say we've improved. The Dolphins in total yards amassed on the season are ranked 15th, right behind the Buffalo Bills, who have gained one more yard on the ground than the Dolphins at 1,072. The Dolphins sitting at 1,071. However, at 133.9 yards per game, that's far better than Buffalo. That is good for 9th ranked in the league on the ground at 133.9 yards per game. Points per game, we'll see how much we've improved. Not much. We were at about 12 to 13 points per game. We are now ranked 31st behind the New England Patriots and in front of the New York Giants with a whopping 15.5 points per game scored. So the last 2 ball games of 27 points has improved our points per game about 2.5 points per game. Over on the other side of the ball, defense. In total yards given up on the season, the Dolphins are ranked 4th with 24.25. And in yards per game, the Dolphins total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are ranked 7th in the league at 303.1. Over on the passing side of the ball, the Dolphins have dropped to 3rd ranked in total yards given up at 1465, and they have dropped to 4th after holding the number 1 spot for most of the year. We have dropped to 4th at 183 yards, 0.1 per game given up through the air. That's behind the Texans, the Jets, and the Titans. On the ground, we give up a little more. Have given up a little more. Total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th ranked, giving up 960 yards total rushing. And on the ground per game, the Dolphins are sitting right around 120 per game, which is an improvement. Before Buffalo, we were at about 133 per game. Now we're sitting at 120 even. Buffalo's at 123.4. And that's good for 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 13th against the run. Points per game given up. Miami dropping, obviously, giving up another game of 27 points. To 23.4 per game, which is about where we finished the season last year, a little bit lower, but right about where we finished the season last year. And that's middle of the road in the league. That 49ers give up 22-8. The Rams, our opponent coming up this Monday, give up 24.3. So we should be able to score all of that 24.3 if we are in fact back on offense, and that 15.5 points per game doesn't mean anything. Now, in win rates along the line, Calais Campbell ranked third in the league now, and defensive tackle pass rush win rate. Zach Sealer ranked 18th still after missing a ball game. Teron Armstead still holding the 20th spot in pass block win rate for offensive tackles. On the inside of the line, Aaron Brewer holding the 17th spot for inside pass block win rate. I'm looking for any other standouts. There are no other standouts. And Miami total currently in pass rush win rate ranked 18th. Run stop win rate 26th. The defense needs to pick that up for sure. And on offense, the pass block win rate, Miami's ranked 12th, and in run block win rate, we were ranked 18th. So there's not much movement there from the past couple of weeks. Miami's still playing average, but solid offensive line. And then the other thing, ESPN's QBR, quarterback rating. They do not have Tua on the list for the season because he only has a 4-game sample size. So there's only 31 quarterbacks listed. I can go back to week 9, and in week 9, Tua was ranked third. So third last week with the third highest QBR at 89.4. And the thing I notice here is that for those that think that, I get it. If our record was better, it would be easier to stomach the loss last week because we did play exceptionally well in the macro. But when I look at the list here of the top 7 last week I'll look at the top 10. The 10th highest QBR was 65. That's held by Baker Mayfield, and he had a loss. Okay, so out of the 10, the lowest being 65, the highest being 97.2. Every quarterback in the top 10 of QBR last week, and I want you to hear this very clearly. Every quarterback in the top 10 in QBR last week won their game except for 3. Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones at number 8, and Tua Tagovailoa at number 3. Every other quarterback won their game. Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff at 4th, Joe Burrow at 5th, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Now, when I go to the season, for those that want to know, just to know, again, I told you Tua is not on the list because he doesn't have a high enough sample size. Okay. But what I did do for y'all's listening enjoyment, you know me, I ain't going to let that stop me from nothing. I pulled out the old color calculator. You remember the old color calculator? And I did the math myself. In 4 games played by Tua this year with a 1-3 record, first, I want to be very clear. He has improved his QBR every game. since Buffalo, because he was a little better against Jacksonville. But forget those being reversed. He's improved his QBR every game. His 4-game QBR average is 49.3. So if I go back over to the list for the year, 49.3 would put him at 25th in front of Dak Prescott and behind Daniel Jones, who has a 48 on the year. Now, I do want to point out again that last week, 1 game sample size, and he rocked an 89.4 against Buffalo's defense. So there's no question that the team overall is improved now. Are we a 2-6 team just because we lost to Buffalo with where we're at now? Can we parlay some of that great performance and say, oh, well, that's Buffalo? Well, now we got the Rams. I can warn you that the Rams are a really solid team and they have Matt Stafford, but they're not the Buffalo Bills. They're not a division opponent. They're none of that. So I can understand why the back of bettors' minds, they're like, minus 105 on Miami. Yeah. I can see why they're betting up Miami. So quickly, let's get to the Pro Football Reference rankings. For points scored, offense is ranked 31st. Defense ranked 17th, as I alluded to earlier. Yards, offense is ranked 20th. Defense is ranked 7th. Team turnovers lost. Dolphins offense ranked 11th. Defense ranked 27th. We got to get more turnovers. That's no doubt about it. Shout out to Jalen Ramsey for the working towards that cause last week. I know y'all are going to say it was a walk-in touchdown. If the guy catches the ball, I get it, but it still took major awareness to turn on the football once he realized it was loose. He took all of his focus off that receiver and put it right on the football. So shout out to him for that. That's special. If you don't think that he's partly responsible for manufacturing that interception, you don't know football. Fumbles lost. Offense ranked 23rd. Defense ranked 29th. In first downs, offense is ranked 16th in achieving them. Defense still ranked 11th in giving them up in the passing game. This is in the passing game, by the way. The offense in passing attempts is ranked 17th. The defense is ranked 5th. So how is our defense ranked 5th against number of passing attempts if we're not keeping teams off the field? Ask yourself that question. Or if we're not forcing them to run. In passing yards, the Dolphins offense ranked 24th. The defense ranked 4th, as I told you earlier. Against the touchdown, in touchdowns, the offense is ranked 24th, while the defense gives up the 6th ranked number of touchdowns in the air. That's down from first. Interceptions, offense is ranked 9th, defense ranked 23rd. Net yards gained per pass attempt. The offense is ranked 24th. The defense gives up the 18th ranked highest net yards per attempt. On the rushing. Oh, by the way, Dolphins offense has scored 82 first downs. Defense has given up 75. In the rushing attempts, the offense is 9th ranked in number of attempts. Defense is ranked 16th in number of attempts against. So we are making them run more. They're keeping their number of attempts, passing attempts down. For what reason that is, it could vary per opponent. Some opponents don't need to pass on us because their running is working so well. Some teams don't want to pass on us because they know they can't. So it just depends on the opponent. Did you hear me clearly? It depends on the opponent. It doesn't really tell us anything beyond that. Rushing yards, Dolphins are ranked 9th, while the defense gives up 13th ranked number of rushing yards. And here's the TDs. Dolphins are ranked 23rd in scoring TDs on the ground. Our defense is ranked 27th in giving up rushing touchdowns. Now, that's interesting. That's really high compared to our 6th rank in giving up passing touchdowns. But remember what I said a couple weeks ago, about we were first against passing touchdowns, but we know teams are scoring against us. So inherently, if we're first against passing touchdowns, we would have to be next to last in rushing touchdowns. And we were ranked 30th. Again, teams are scoring on us. We know that. We give up 23.4 per game. So we know teams are scoring on us. How they're doing it is now fluctuating. In other words, it's shifting. So now we're 6th against the passing touchdown. And we've dropped. We've improved to 27th against the rushing touchdown. So all we've done was trade one for the other. That's all we've done. We haven't really improved at all. We've just traded one for the other. In yards per attempt, the Dolphins are ranked 17th on offense on the ground. And in rushing against the run, the defense is ranked 14th in yards per attempt. The offense has scored 57 first downs. And the defense on the ground, and the defense has given up 55 on the ground. Penalties. The team is committed 57 penalties. Our opponents have committed 55. They don't break it down for offense and defense. We've given up 512 yards on penalties. Our opponents have given up 436 yards on penalties. We've given up 15 first downs. I'm sorry, we have 15 first downs gained by way of penalty, and we've given up 14 by way of penalty. And that was really important last game, unfortunately. Number of drives, our teams had 86, while we've had 87 drives against us. Percentage of drives ending in an offensive score. Okay, here we go. The number of drives that the Dolphins have that end in a score is at 30%. That means 1 out of every 3 drives, roughly, we score. Our opponent, which means how many our defense is giving up, is scoring 40% of the time they have the ball. Now, if the defense was causing the issue there, then that percentage would be more like 60, because it'd be some of them having a good offense and some of your defensive failures. But the fact that your offense only scores 30% of the time they have the ball, yet their offenses only score 40%, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. That's another sign that your defense is getting off the field repeatedly for your offense to do 30% with it. Your defense is getting off the field 60% of the time, and your offense is scoring 30%. That means 2 out of every 3 drives your defense gets off the field. 1 out of every 3 your offense scores. Don't tell me our defense is losing us games. Not even 1. Percentage of drives ending in offensive turnover, 10.5 for the Miami Dolphins, 6.5 for our opponents. So our defense does need to get the ball turned over more. That's good for 26th ranked. So yeah, they need to turn the ball over more. But our offense is ranked 20th in turnover percentage. By the way, that scoring percentage I just mentioned, if you think I'm lying to you or you think I'm reading these stats wrong, the Dolphins offense in scoring percentage, which is 30%, number of times you score when you've got the ball, is 28th ranked, while the defense scored against percentage, they are ranked 13th. Your offense needs to be a little more around that 13th to 15th rank to be talking about our defense is losing us ball games. Sorry. We're starting our average drive at our own 28. That's good for 31st ranked. They're starting their drive off at the average at the 32-yard line. That's good for 29th ranked against the defense. The average time per drive on our offense is 2 minutes, 55 seconds. The average time that our defense is on the field is 2.38 seconds. 2 minutes, 38 seconds. Our offense is on the field more. Where are the points? Although we are ranked 9th in offense time of possession, time per drive, and ranked 8th in time against per drive. Average number of plays per drive, 6.2 for the Dolphins, 5.4 against. That's good for 9th ranked for the offense and 5th ranked for the defense. That's playing Buffalo twice. net yards per drive. Our offense gains 29.7 yards per drive. Our defense gives up 27.8. So if our defense is average starting from the 32 and we give up 27.8 yards, 28 yards, where would that put us? Just outside of field goal range every drive, roughly, if you were to factor it out. And where did we end the game last week? Far outside of field goal range at 61 yards on their side of the field. So I'm just saying, it's not as clear as people make it out when they talk about the defense lost us the game. Because in average yards per drive, our offense is ranked 20th. Our defense is ranked 8th in yards given up per drive. Points given up per drive or gained per drive, 1.47 for the Dolphins offense, for the Dolphins as a team. 2.3 for our 0.3 for our opponent. Our offense is ranked 29th in scoring per drive. Our defense is ranked 18th in scoring against. Until that flips, I'll never say the defense lost us a game. Sorry, just ain't going to do it. In third down percentage, the Dolphins' defense is dropped to 6th ranked. We were holding the number 1 spot for most of the year. The offense is 14th in converting for third downs. In converting fourth downs, the Dolphins' offense is 32nd ranked, and the defense is 19th in giving them up. The red zone percentage for the Dolphins' offense is 27th ranked at 50%. And against us, it's 56.5%, which is good for 15th ranked. And that's where we stand at the middle of the season. A lot of mids, a lot of middle rankings for both sides of the ball. Both. Like I said, I do see a lot more single digits for the defense, but that's nothing to hang your hat on. That is nothing to celebrate. It's nothing to hype up. And I hope anybody don't think I'm hyping them up, because I'm not. The show is titled Mid-Season Mids because that's what our mid-season stats look like. Now, you can judge for yourself how they've improved over the last couple weeks, which it has. The stats clearly show that we are on an upward trend, even playing Buffalo. Some of the things we did this week against Buffalo, believe it or not, even on offense, some of the things we did this week improved our rankings. So if we were, if we had dropped to 5-3 or we had dropped to even 4-4, we could say respectable loss. Great game. Hard fought game by both sides of the ball. And fair enough, Game Boy, but the reason we weren't expected to be competitive is because they score 30 points every time we are. Every time we've played them competitively. Look at the records, dude. Every time we've played them competitively, they've scored 30 points on us. We had to know that going in. Again, getting back to my earlier statement, our whole mentality going into the game lost us that game. But it's okay. It's okay to say that just as well as it is to say the defense lost us. I just disagree, and I'm never going to say it. I'm never going to say that the Bengals defense lost last night. And almost strikingly similar scenario, except I think Lamar Jackson is far better than Josh Allen. So that's different. Right, Cosa Nostra. And we kind of get a better, clearer picture now of, as the stats regress to the mean, which they always do, we can more fairly assess. I don't think we're sixth ranked either in all those numbers. I'm going to be clear right now. I don't think we're sixth ranked. We're certainly not looking like that on the field in the crucial moments. But the question is, how far really back do you think we are if we consistently keep those top 10 numbers up? That's the question. That's the only question I'm trying to look at. I ain't trying to, there ain't no narrative or agendas or anything all about that. I don't care about all that shit. I don't know how many times I got to tell you all. I don't give a shit about all that. I'm just simply saying, here's what we've actually produced. Where do you think that leaves us? Where do you think that means where we're at? Look, I could say just as well, according to the stats, that we're probably going to be better than a 2-16 going forward. But I can also say that we're probably going to be worse than a sixth ranked defense going forward. I mean, I can say both of those things. There's no agenda. What we are bad at, and we all can agree with this, what we are bad at and what makes us a bad team is the fact that any side of the ball don't lay it all out on the field every single game. We had our star wide receiver last week tell us, oh, now we're in playoff mode where every play matters. We should have been in that mode in week 1. And we wouldn't be a 2-16. It's that very mentality is the reason we're a 2-16. Because in a crucial moment, look, I'm going to agree, in a crucial moment, the defense couldn't hold them back for a couple more yards. So they couldn't kick that field goal. I could say earlier in the game, the defense could have got 1 3-and-out in the second half. We're not used to seeing them do that, but they could have got 1 single 3-and-out in the second half, given our offense by then was answering the call each drive. We just ran out of drives. We ran out of drives because the Dolphins didn't capitalize in the first half. It's a 60-minute ball game for both sides of the ball. Why wasn't the defense playing the way they were the first half? Well, Buffalo probably made adjustments. Were they that good that they couldn't even get one freaking punt? Well, they have been before. Still not an excuse. The defense should have got 1 stop in the second half. Still remains a footnote as to why we lost that game. I don't know how hard. I don't know why people think that's so confrontational. Like I'm trying to oh no, attaboy defense, it's okay. No. You know what the difference is? Anthony Weaver has shown me that he has the right mentality coaching these guys. You know who hasn't shown me that? Mike McDaniel. So spare me if you think I'm not as concerned about our defense and its issues last week going forward, or is even remotely going to change anything. Because you know what happens if the defense would have stopped them from kicking that field goal, which you all forgot? It's still a tie ball game. It should have never been a tie ball game. That's the part y'all are forgetting. Should have never been a tie ball game. We had the possession advantage and the field position advantage. This should have never been a tie ball game. Now, going forward, I like what I saw out of the offense this week. It is wholly different than what we've been seeing. It's a better way to win than what we've been seeing. And that is going to require our defense to tighten up more than they've had to in the past. Yes. Memo received. Memo received. I don't think we're a 2-6 team going forward. I think last week, the team that we put on the field was better than 2-6. I firmly believe that. How much better? I don't know. We're going to find out. Because you don't have to stop executing just because you had a decent game. And y'all want to do victory laps up and down the turnpike over how great that offense was last week. Well, fine. It needs to be better. Matt Stafford's the kind of guy that don't give up drives. I'd like to look up his drive percentage. It's whatever you want it to be, S. Harris. Everything but clean your ears out and listen to what I said in the beginning of the show and what I've said for the last 3 years. It's me that's standing on the same square. It's me that's saying the same message for 3 years straight that team loses, period. Y'all want to talk about it's a team game until it suits your narrative. Up until we need to blame one side of the ball or the other, then it's not a team game anymore. Only when we win. Oh, and then it's all Tua. Pick your poison. I don't care. I've said the same thing since I've been here, since I've been alive. The team loses. There are 50 different things that all 53 players could have done different that could have won us the game. And all we needed was one of those things to lose to the Bills. We only needed Mostert's fumble to lose. to the Bills. That's all we needed. That happened early in the game. That was all we needed. That one thing alone is the only thing you need to lose. I don't need to find other things. Just amazing to me. It really is. It's not even so amazing that people blame the defense, is that they take it so to an extreme level to where it's like we're going to get personal with people because they don't agree that the defense lost us the game. We're going to call people dumb and tell people to shut the fuck up and all this other shit. Okay. I just I don't have energy for that shit. I don't. So I'll just shut up. All people got to do is say so. Ain't crying about nothing. I got a phone. Somebody wants to fucking tell me what's really on their mind. Here's the phone. The fuck am I crying about? Here's our vaunted leader, aka Guru, aka Buddha, aka right arm of God, aka whatever, Socrates, whatever you want to call him. Here is our great leader, Mike McDaniel, for your listening pleasure. And I will try to decipher at 1 1/4 speed to start with what this man is trying to say to us. As long as I don't have 5 minutes of intro cut before we get there. Oh, here we go.
That slightly. So, Mike, there were a couple players who were dealt before the trade deadline who could have filled maybe some need positions, pass rusher, et cetera. From talking to Chris, was your sense that he just didn't want to give up future draft picks for players who were available at this point?
No, there was a couple conversations we had, both about people reaching out to us and different possibilities, inward and outward. And I think the action was that there was no action. That in itself, I think we I think we believe in the roster and want to see.
He acts like he's the first one that's ever said that before in his life. Like, the action is no action. You know who that reminds me of? That reminds me of John Mozeliak from the St. Louis Cardinals. That's who that reminds me of. The action is no action. Yeah, well, guess what? The Cardinals won the World Series that year, Mike.
Guys come through a tough time, and I think that's really what that was executed, and nothing more than that.
Where do you think stand John Holland and Cater Colton?
They are working, and I pretty much think that Javon won't be practicing today. Cater will be involved, and we'll see how it goes through the week.
You versus Sean McVay, what comes to mind? You had time together in Washington, and also so many years competing in the NFC West while you were in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's. I think what comes to mind is I know Coach McVay and his team are always consistently a straining outfit that they do a good job in all three phases. I know he's going to make sure his group is very detailed, that they'll compete, they'll be challenging, and they'll be complementary in how they play, and they'll be unified in their collective groups. So I think it's a good team who's had some resolve themselves and is on a winning streak that you're going to have to beat them for them to lose, and they're not going to give you anything.
You guys have a new practice squad
No, we do not. There's we've been discussing that. We're also pretty hopeful about Snoop's recovery, but as it stands, it will be Two and Skylar this week.
What do you care? He's trash, remember? What do we give? Who gives a shit what the status of Tyler Huntley is? Haven't you heard, McDaniel? You're dumb. You don't know nothing about picking quarterbacks. So why do we give a shit about Tyler Huntley?
Like regarding Raheem, I know he's a heart and soul player, Pro Bowler. He's had a couple of fumbles. Is there a question whether he continues and you bring Jalen Wright in, or is he's still the man there?
No, I think that group, we try to give opportunities to each guy because they deserve it each and every game. And I think based upon
How about giving opportunities to guys because it helps you win the game? You ever thought of that, McDaniel? You ever thought of giving guys opportunities because it helps you win the game?
his performance, Raheem got more attempts. I think it might have been his first touch was on a 3rd and 11 that he inflicted force on the defense, and you earn more touches that way. That being said, he knows he has to hold on to the ball. I think that's we've learned how vital those turnovers can be, especially in a one-score game. So I think he
no, McDaniel, don't you know? Don't you know how to win? You don't know how to win. What do you mean fumble? Fumble as many times as you want. Who gives a shit? We'll just put it on the defense.
He himself would be the first to tell you that we're at this time we've learned 2 hard lessons. So he's you can't really be in the whole scope of all right, well, there's another lesson that needs to be had when there's other guys that aren't turning the ball over. So, but that's the nature of football, and when you have a group that is talented like they are and competitive, you have to give reason and keep that for all your touches. And he's earned there's been about 400 touches that he hasn't fumbled on, and but that being said, what only matters is this next game, and he is putting full focus on making sure that ball stays with him.
2 through 3.
Wow. Okay. I guess. Well, because he's got 400 touches without fumbling, we'll just keep giving him the rock. I know another guy that had a lot of touches without fumbling too, and Don Shula cut him as soon as he fumbled in an important situation and to lose us a game. Yeah, that didn't matter one bit how many times he touched the ball before he fumbled. But that's just Shula, undefeated coach and all.
Completions last week. What's the message to your quarterback after you guys obviously lose, but he played very well enough for you guys to win? So what is the focus in terms of improvement for him?
No, I think you don't. I'm careful not to have overarching that was good or that was bad. For me, my job is to coach and to detail each and every snap. So whether or not his handoff was at his first step was at 3 o'clock and not 4 o'clock. Whether or not your progression was too fast, or you handled inappropriate or appropriate protection, all those things. So the first thing Tua did the day after the game is come to my office and say, what could I have done to win this game? And so then
just turn your foot about 2 inches inward when you drop back and pull the ball up. Pull the ball up just about 1/4 inch when you're handing off to Mostert. And that'll solve the whole problem.
Then of those snaps, you go through his plays, and what if you put the ball here? He did this. He's trying to be great. He's not trying to relieve himself of burden or stress. If he as a quarterback, he looks at it like the stat that is next to his name is the win or loss. So when you lose, what could I have done better? And I think that's
Could he have not watched the tape himself and figured that out on his own?
As the franchise quarterback, you need him to be that way if you're going to expect others to be that way. So
No, I need him to look at the tape himself and figure it out on his own. That's what a franchise quarterback does. The franchise quarterback doesn't go to the coach every single time he's having, he can't figure out what to do to move the ball and say, oh, what could I have done? Could I have done anything better? A franchise quarterback already knows what he could have done better. A franchise quarterback is already looking at the film without asking you before he gets to your office to tell you what he could have done better.
I think the message is coaching, just like some of his best games, some of the most valuable coaching moments come up, and there's positives when he has an overall statistically poor performance sometimes as well. It's just important that you stay even keel and attack each and every rep.
Oh, we definitely hammer them statistically poor performances. We definitely handle them wins. Oh yeah, we don't. Fuck it. You threw for 200 and something yards. The defense fucked up. Just fuck it, Tua. Move on. The Rams are next.
Let guys truly get value out of a coach.
With Alec Ingold, another heart and soul guy, it seemed to me after the Jalen Ramsey interception, he starts limping on that calf. He plays the rest of the game, blocks excellently. What can you say about the effort that he gave, and how is his availability this week?
Well, I think no coincidence that a fullback has a C on his chest, and I think he's earned that through daily investment into the team and his play. And I think it says the world about who he is. And everyone knows that every teammate is responsible to protect Alec from himself when it comes to sacrifice for the team. And I think he's an unbelievably valuable player.
God, are we gonna we're just gonna beat this Alec Ingold as the best blocker ever known to man dead horse for the rest of our life? Are we really gonna milk this? Have they not sold enough Alec Ingold jerseys yet? I mean, geez, man. It's just a fullback lead block, dude.
Our team, and so we'll just always be aggressive with him in terms of our management, because he would be if his leg didn't work, he'd be hopping, you know what I mean? So I think that's important to know your personnel and to cater to that, and he's in a situation where he will do anything and everything, which is why he's a captain and a leader of this team.
Last year, Tua and Tyree combined for 30 catches of 25 yards or more. This year so far, it's only been 5. Obviously, Tua missed 4 games. In addition to the return of Tua.
Well, I guess the guy that goes to McDonald's every day and it don't matter. You could be a Hall of Fame player, but you go to McDonald's every day and you don't go to the gym, and because it just comes all natural to you. Yeah, that means you're nothing. You don't get to be a captain. Eat your vitamins, kids.
To his availability, what are some other reasons for optimism in the second half of the season that we'll see more big game plays?
Well, I think it's before the results, or before the statistical results, like from my vantage point, I'm coaching guys on technique and fundamentals and how they're playing the position.
Why are you doing that? You have position coaches for that, bro. Why are you doing that? Has anybody thought to ask that question?
Not addressing what coverage they're.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I got the answer. Oh, maybe that guy's got the answer.
People are running, or what they're trying to take away or anything. I'm watching their game, and I can honestly say that the two of them, in terms of route running and timing and connectivity, there's been growth over the entire season, and there's been different challenges presented based upon the three full games that they've had. And I think the biggest thing is that you haven't seen Tyreek Hill wide open and Tua missing him or missing a throw, or like their timing and their fundamentals is what will produce the results when when the defense.
Meanwhile, you got like 5 other guys running around the field wide open, and all you're concerned about is that? He didn't miss Tyreek. That's a good thing. We're getting better at him not missing Tyreek. So, well, credit to it. He's going through all the reads. He's just not choosing any of them. Like, yeah, that guy's open. That guy's open. That guy's open. Oh, look, Tyreek with 4 guys on him. That's the guy.
Is giving us the opportunity. I think it's important in football. Defenses have really taken notice of those explosive plays, and they've tried to prevent them by
You don't say.
by basically doubling him. And I think as a result, it's forced a lot of the offense to get better.
It ain't just him they're doubling, Mike. They're doubling everybody he throws to. What's that tell you? When every single receiver he chooses to throw to has 3 guys draped on him or 2 guys with another one coming in, what's that tell you, Mike? It ain't just Tyreek. It's everybody he throws to. You're not fooling nobody.
To it, get on the same page with a lot of other eligibles, and it's forced our offensive line to block and our runners to run. And
hear that? I want Tua to get on the same page with all the eligibles. Did you not just hear what he said? See, he uses words like eligibles and explosives and all these stupid terms that he just came up with that nobody's ever used before, okay? Because what he's trying to tell you is Tua ain't finding nobody else open. I'm going to replay what he just said so you can hear it clearly.
Explosive plays, and they've tried to prevent him by basically doubling him. And I think as a result, it's forced a lot of the offense to get better. It's forced Tua to get on the same page with a lot of other eligibles, and it's forced
Tua to get on the same page with a lot of other eligibles. And he ain't doing that. Beyond Achan.
Our offensive line to block and our runners to run, and Tyreek to run block a little bit. And you do that, and you have to understand that in team football,
you mean like real football?
If you're getting double teamed, there's a teammate of yours that stands for a lot of reason for success. So I think their game, as from technique and fundamentals, has seen growth this year, and I think they did execute on 2 opportunities this past game, and that's what I'm most concerned with, is that guys their game is developing within whatever trials and tribulations they're going through. I thought Tyreek's had his best game releasing off of press coverage, and little things like that is what I prioritize.
Mike, I wanted to ask you, this team is seemingly running out of track in terms of to achieve the ultimate goal for what you guys began the season with, or the expectations. What should make Dolphin fans confident that this franchise is headed in the right direction?
Great question. That's the question of the day. Question of the show. It's the question of the show. And Omar just asked it. What makes you believe, what should give any Dolphin fan a reasonable expectation that we even win another ball game?
Based on what they've seen so far in the early portion of the season.
I understand the question. It's It's very
We know you understand the question. We didn't need you to tell us you understand the question. Answer it.
very valid. I think you know, from my vantage point, you know, I'm responsible for all things. I'm also you know, the guy that the players lean on for football expertise and talking to them about their game and you know, staying true to the most vital thing that I know to be true in any season is that, you know, there's sometimes there's false hope where you're saying you're close or you're saying you know, things will get better. I live in real hope, which is how are people's games getting better? Are we getting better? Does that mean it's up to standard or that losses are acceptable? Absolutely not. But vital to you know, football teams having success in any NFL season is that they master that the art of getting better in the noise, and don't confuse noise with just losing. Noise is also, it's very loud when you're winning, and sometimes you can have that. You know, you could be sitting at 6-2, and if the ball isn't getting better through all the noise, I don't have real hope. My hope is real because the football that I'm watching and detailing is improved.
But you had real hope last year when the ball wasn't getting better while we were winning through the noise. When the ball wasn't getting better, you had all kinds of hope because you came to this start of this season saying that this is the year. We're winning the division. So you didn't lose hope, even though we didn't improve at all. We actually regressed from Dallas on last year. But you still maintained that hope. It was that false hope? Now we're see, Omar didn't ask you what nature of hope you have right now. He asked you why we should have hope. You see how he dodged the question completely? The question was, why should fans have hope? Not you, McDaniel.
Moving, and I think the team is focused on trying to have a game where they feel like their brand of football was mastered, and I think the football team knows that when that occurs, things will take care of themselves in the win column. But more than anything, I think you know, I've said it before. I don't.
Well, we know that too. The question is, again, why should we believe they're going to start doing that?
It's not easy having no control but full investment. And if you're a fan, today's miserable like the day before, until you have a win, right? Today is the most important day of our season of our lives because we have work that can dictate the terms of what everybody wants. And as long as I see guys in whatever noise continue to embrace and take their individual efforts and their collective efforts to another level to get it right, I think, you know, that's what gives me absolute hope and vigor with this team. Because,
Well, according to a recent TFTG poll, 24% of our audience believes you in a word that comes out of your mouth.
that is real.
So the question is, do you believe him now? Based on the stats that I illustrated, that I told you all about, do you believe him now? Do you believe this team is better than a 2-6 team? Do you believe that they are actually improving back to that point of higher level of execution where we know they can beat a team 70-20? Because that's what he's trying to sell you here. He's trying to say, look, we know what we can do. We just got to do it. Omar tried to ask, why should we believe you're going to do it? He dodged that question and went on to say, we know we can. We have hope. We have real hope, which is different than false hope. Okay. How is it different? Why should the fans have real hope instead of false hope? Because right now I got false hope. I'll never lose my hope. Everybody knows that about me. But people like CB83 and S. Harris and all these other guys, they'll be like, or anybody, your hope is false. CCRR, your hope is false. Because for them, it's because I don't put the hope into it. But whatever, that's a different story. But my hope is false, McDaniel. Why should my hope be real? Not why should your hope be real? Why should my hope be real? That's what Omar is asking.
Too. I think guys are determined, and I think they know that they while each individual can't control whether or not it's a win or loss, they can control how they are working to individually and collectively. And today will be the first day on the field with that as we progress through the week, and hopefully
with what? With what? With that mentality? Again, why hasn't it been there the entire season?
Dictate what happens.
Yeah, right, CB83, which is different than you, who has no point in the community.
On Monday, a little bit on Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day it is.
Mike, at what point, I understand what you're saying about improving, and it needs to happen, obviously, week to week. But at what point does merely...
And I'm telling you right now, if you think that gatekeeping is bouncing people out of the chat that are doing nothing but dragging this fucking show down by sitting there and insulting me all day, you're wrong. Free speech platform doesn't mean you get to fucking shit all over me. Keep doing it. And then you can go tell your little fucking friends that Culler gate kept you and bounced you, because I'm about to do it.
improving.
I think I'm fucking playing anymore. I'm fucking sick of your shit. I'm sick of all of your shit. And I'm not going to put up with it anymore.
Not become enough. At what point do you have to get the results in order to get where you want to go and make the playoffs?
Well, I mean, ultimately, the game is about winning. So I'm not saying that is ultimately how you're judged, and I think that's fair, and you tirelessly work at not obsessing about, hey, the idea of, or the false sense of, hey, we're going to win this week. No, what are you going to do about it? And what is today like? How are you going to affect the change? We've had a lot of hard conversations that ultimately have been very necessary, and in that process, you have to, ultimately you have to win this league. And so, but you have to take care of your business through the entirety of the preparation, coaches and players included. And then
so he says they've had a bunch of hard conversations. They've had a bunch of hard conversations, and they found out that none of them were necessary, which means you missed the problem, which means you failed to identify the problem. If you had a bunch of conversations and none of them were necessary, that means that you were talking about something that was not the problem. So where have we arrived at, McDaniel? The one and only conversation that needs to be had by anybody in that freaking building. And it's about execution. Bro, you're not, S. Harris, you're not my judge, bro. See, that's where you're mistaken. You're not my judge. How do I troll McDaniel and they get mad when the same energy is towards me? So because I'm trolling a multi-million-dollar head coach, that gives you the right to troll my poor ass? How about this, bro? How about you go fuck yourself and you can tell Capitan how you have the right to troll me. Explain to him how you control his network and you can say and do whatever you want to me. Go tell him. Because you're done telling me.
Ultimately you do have to win football games, or that's the whole idea. So we're working to improve that.
David Long, a team captain, lost his starting job. How tough of a decision was that? What went into it, and what kind of message does that send to the rest of the team?
I mean, yeah, that I have the utmost respect for David Long as a man, as a player. And I think the important piece of it was that it was less about David Long not doing something and more about we felt like Walk needed and deserved the opportunity and has skills of his own in his own right that were the best man for the job. But that's never easy, especially when you care for a human being. We've gone to battle a lot together. So those are things that that in the position it's not necessarily fun, but the whole team and organization is depending on you to try to do what you see as very best. And I think David respects that and regards that. He may, I'm sure he disagrees, but it's about understanding intent. I think the whole team loves David. That's why they voted him captain. But also you have to, I think it was the football team was also excited for Walk's opportunity, which he made the most of for sure.
Chuck, do we have a possibility that Chuck could practice this week, or is that not the window not open yet?
Yeah, I wasn't seeing it this week, but I will be sure to convey it the week that I'm seeing it, because I appreciate you guys' patience. But he's doing good, and we're just trying.
Couldn't you have
improve,
just said, I'll let you
to
know?
his
I'll be
body,
sure to
and,
convey to
he's-
you the
he's
week that I
working
see it.
his way.
Like, really, bro?
And Isaiah Wynn, not close.
No, I think both Isaiah and Cam are getting closer for sure. I would say, I don't know the timelines I usually use, but week to week, or kind of that issue. All right,
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for telling us nothing. Anyway. Yeah, Troy says we're the new old Detroit Lions. Yeah. Now, I never said that because I don't agree with going for two there, Mudbone. You'll never hear me say that. I think the Bengals should have tied the game last night. But I can't blame them for doing it. It's a regular season, and the tie is in play. I don't like ties, so I might have gone for it, but I don't know. It's a close one. Now, if you're talking about having some kind of momentum where it's like, I can't imagine there ain't a play in the playbook that could easily get us that 2-point conversion. That's different. It's situational, man. You know that. Sometimes it's going to be the obvious right thing to do, and sometimes it's not. I probably would have just tied the game there because that was you had no chance of getting the ball back. And whenever you don't have a chance to get the ball back, you can't put it all on the line like that right there. If it was earlier in the game where you made that decision, hey, this ain't going to end in a tie, even 5 minutes earlier, you could argue, well, if your defense gets a stop, you still got the chance. No, that's your last shot. You got to tie the game there and keep the game live. Yeah, I didn't even have to. That's right, CCRR. I didn't even have to ban him. He's going to go there and go around telling everybody I threatened to do it. That's good enough for him. And Culler cried. He's got to ban people now. It's just old and it's tiring. It makes me not want to do the show every day, guys. I mean, be honest with you. I mean, it's not enjoyable. And we're not talking about, oh, everybody's job's not enjoyable. Well, who's paying me? I mean, for real. And then obviously it makes me react. Sure. Yeah. So you got me. You made somebody react. So he's talking about my whole purpose in the community is to hate on Tua. So what's his whole purpose? To get a reaction out of YouTubers? Is he even a Dolphin fan? Does he even watch football? Like, has anybody ever asked these questions? Because all the guy does is make it a game out of shitting on people. I don't want that around anymore. I don't need it around anymore. I don't get paid to do this. If one of y'all said, here's $100, Culler, just put up with CB83 because we all put up with it, fine. Ain't nobody doing that. Nor do I want anybody to. But if you all really want that around here and that's what you want this chat to be, that's your choice. For anybody getting mad at me because I bounced somebody that makes me react, then you're one of them. And that's all you're here for. And I ain't your whore. At least a whore gets paid. God damn. No more. That's it. The next person that insults me personally while I'm trying to do a show is out of here. I don't care if El Capitan reinstates you after you beg him to. It's going to happen every time you insult me from now on, or I'm not doing the show. I don't know how hard that is. That's not me crying. That's me being an adult. If you don't want to be an adult, that's fine. Go somewhere else. I don't know why I stopped. I don't even know why I didn't stop caring about those people like at 5,000 subs. Like, why do I even give a shit if CB83 comes around here? What is it doing for anybody here? To prove that I can, oh, I'm a free speech platform and I've got a thick skin. I don't need to prove that to anybody. That's not what I'm here for. I mean, just admit if you're jealous, you're jealous. Just say it. I've been doing this for 3 years. Everybody knows the things I have and have not said. I'm sick and tired of people associating me with everybody else that they hate. I mean, what, do we have to do this again? I feel like we do this once a season. Just so I can make it clear to people. Once and for all. You ready? Two in ears? Close your ears if you don't want to hear this. Tua sucks. I don't have to hide anything. I never have. I don't have to say, oh, the defense didn't lose us the game because I'm trying to shit on Tua. I don't need that shit on Tua. Not about that, marketeer. It's about the fact that people are acting like I'm trying to hide something. So I'll get that right out of the way. Most of the people that have been following me long enough know that I'm saying that precisely because they want me to say it. They really think that's a win. I mean, of course. And I take the bait. No, I'm not done. And now you are. You had to poke the bear, dude. You had to fuck around and find out. There you are. There you go. No, I'm not done, but you are. Now you can go back to Twitter Garden. Get muted there. I won't miss one beat. And you know what? Normally, I'm an empath, and everybody knows that. Normally, after this show's done, I'll be like, oh my God, why did I go that far? Nope. My empathy is done for people like CB83. I am not going to think one more second about banning him when this show is over. When Cap asks me why, I ain't even gonna entertain it with an answer. I mean, Troy, to be honest with you, me blocking anybody has nothing to do with anybody's football takes because everybody in this chat right now knows that there are plenty of people that disagree with me about Tua. Mudbone's one of them. You don't see Mudbone sitting here acting like a child. He'll come at me every single day about how I'm wrong about Tua, but he will never act like a child. He'll never act like I've got some kind of, deep-seated hatred for the man that I'm always hating. Mudbone doesn't see Tua hater. He sees Culler, who doesn't like Tua. He doesn't see Tua hater. Mudbone's not the only one. Jermaine came in today. How you doing, Culler? Jermaine hates my takes about Tua, for the most part. He comes in, how you doing today? When was the last time you ever even seen CB83 tell me how's your day? When was the time, when have you ever even seen him say hello before he starts in on me? Why should I have to put up with that? That's not Tua. That's not football takes. That's personal. That's somebody that's too afraid to tell another man that they got a problem with him so that maybe they can figure out what it is. That's a man that's got a personal problem with somebody that can't admit it. That has to veil it and make it about it's football. It's about football. No, it ain't. Because about 80% of you in here disagree with me about Tua, but ain't none of you acting that way. Thank you, Lewis. Do what Lewis says. Hit the like button. Y'all can't give me no money. You better hit the like button. We're up to 44. We actually have more likes than we have viewers right now, so we're doing all right there, but qualitatively we're doing good. Quantitatively, no, y'all got to hit the like button. We all get to the level where we start getting personal. Most of us calm down and say, okay, it didn't need to go there. But this dude comes in here every single day, morning, noon, and night, and makes it his mission to aggravate me. And I understand that YouTubers have to deal with those people. I get it. What I don't understand is why I can't deal with those people the same way every other YouTuber does. Why am I the bad guy? Because I am treating him the same way every other YouTuber treats a guy that does that. TD stopped allowing that on his channel and in his chat. Has he missed a beat? Y'all talk about Reason blocked me. Everybody in here practically has been blocked by Reason or the Big O. But somehow I'm the one that has to take all of everybody's insults right off the bat. And they're blocking you all for your football takes. What if I started doing that? What if I chose a side? What if I said, from now on, nobody that likes Tua is allowed to say a word or you're getting blocked? Do you want me to start doing that? See, somewhere along the line, people confused what freedom of speech is and a free speech platform with license. Okay? Those are two different things. Ain't nobody got a license to insult me. You say anything you want about this football team. Anything. Some of it bothers me, yeah. Some of it I'll come back with another take. And I'm not even talking about the, oh, that's dumb or you're dumb. I'm talking about the fucking constant first words out of your mouth are something to aggravate the person trying to give you a good show. That's hateful. I'm not even talking about calling somebody an idiot for their take. That happens all the time. I'm talking about this nonsense of spending your entire being and existence on the internet to ruin people and to ruin people's moods. You've all heard me blow up to no ends. I've had blow ups that should end any YouTuber's career. But you know what's different about it? I don't come in here that way. And most of the time when I'm blowing up, it's on somebody for acting exactly the way them two were acting. Because it's every single day. I'm you could call me insane for letting it go on this long. Even AB gets it. You're just miserable. Admit that you're just a miserable person. And I don't know why. I'm trying to like you. If it's because you don't have nobody that likes you and that's why you're miserable, well, I'm trying to like you. And you keep slapping me back the fuck down, man. And if you don't care if I like you, then stop acting like you do. All you got to do is say, yo, you ain't welcome around here. That's all you got to tell me. I'll be like, damn, this sucks that people don't like me. I really wanted them to. I might even try again. But once a motherfucker tells me, don't come around here, that's all you got to say. You ain't got to be like, oh my God, what's Culler going to do if I tell him to don't come around here? What the fuck am I going to do? I'm going to take it on the chin, be like, I got to be better around people. Those people obviously didn't get me. All right. And I move on. I'm 47 years old. Ain't the first time I wasn't liked around a group of people. Ain't going to be the last. But what aggravates me to no end is when somebody is so weak that they can't just tell a motherfucker that. Why do we have this obligation to like be nice around people we don't like? Just tell me you don't like me. I'll move on. And there ain't no one person I'm talking to now. Because there's several people that are like that I know in my life. It's just old and tired, man. It really is. He ain't got to go that far, Jermaine, because I'm going to unblock him right now. You can't be doing that, bro. I don't think he said anything that rises to that level, unless I missed it. Oh, that one I'm not unblocking, that's for sure. All these damn bots in here. No, I don't. He didn't block nobody. I don't see anybody new on the list. Anyway, hit the like button on your way out. I'm getting out of here. I'm not going to sit here and get aggravated about CB83 the rest of the night. But as Mike McDaniel says, we fight on. 2-6. We're not mathematically out of it. Stats are getting better, but mid-season report, we smoking on some mids, and it's not that great. So we'll see what happens against the Rams Monday night. I'm going to probably do an extra show this weekend because it's Monday Night Football this week. And of course, Monday's show will be a pregame show. Maybe we'll maybe we'll do a panel for game day. But if not, I'm going to come to you tomorrow with something. I want to talk about bets this week. Man, I got smashed on the parlays last week, but there were a couple really good picks that I made that I just need to separate from those parlays. But we'll talk about all that. We'll see if Ali wants to get the Wolf Pack, the Wolf Lounge going on tomorrow night. And of course, ooh, look at that. I almost forgot it was Friday. And the second reason I got to get out of here is because Shake Money's coming up momentarily with the drive time. Let me get an exact time on that for y'all. Why ain't it letting me? Whatever, man. Whatever. I'll just do it this way. Shake's going to come in with the time before I look it up. He's going to be like, it's at this time, Culler, right when I get to it. All right, drive time. Scheduled for 7 o'clock. So you got an hour. You got an hour to recover your thoughts. CB83 has an hour to go beg Capitan to unblock him. S. Harris. I'll unblock S. Harris. I just wanted to let him know. So let me get in there real quick and unblock S. Harris. He didn't deserve the stray. He caught a stray. We'll call it that. Let me get in here and unblock S. Harris. Oh, I feel bad now. I do have empathy for S. Harris. A little bit. So there you go. S. Harris back on board. But so CB83 has a an hour and 2 minutes to beg Capitan to unblock him. We'll see if he gets it done. I don't like his odds, though. Nah, Capitan will unblock him. You know Capitan, he's a softie. But anyway, everybody have a good evening. Make sure you're coming by. Drive time is an open panel, so if you want to come up and yell at Shake as to why Culler's an asshole for blocking CB83 and S. Harris, go right ahead. You're certainly welcome to hit that link, S. Harris, and explain to everybody why I blocked CB83 and yourself. You're certainly welcome to do that. Well, it is tough, Sal, because you know what I mean? A lot of times it stops you from asserting yourself in a way you need to, because and then people get used to that. And then when you do assert yourself, people are like, what's up with this guy? And then of course you're feeling all that pain afterwards. So yeah, it ain't fun. But something I had to deal with. We're all different. We all got our problems we got to deal with. It ain't no big deal. But unfortunately for CB83, he's gonna have to get on a knee and to El Capitan. Yeah, that's right. That's what I said. Because I want him to like beg and plead El Capitan to unblock him. Hey, beg and plead crypto so it don't look as bad. I don't care what you got to do, but he's going to have to beg to get unblocked, and he's got an hour to do it. So you be good too, man, realist. And y'all be good. Be good to each other. It's not the end of the world. It's just football. And yeah, on that note, Tua sucks. Just kidding.